love, Cary Grant, the leading man.
The man that every woman would like to love and that every man would like to be.
Tomorrow on Cinemax.
A comedy classic comes back in living color. When a timid man
4 minutes past it. We dress now.
is suddenly besieged by two very lively ghosts.
Bring Topper along. We'll go places.
No, I don't want to go places. Because I've been to places, lots of places. Really, I have.
They're dying to do one good deed.
Oh, look at it. His whole soul is crying out for self-expression.
But when Topper breaks out, their heavenly hopes break down.
And lo, the worm turns.
Maybe you can tell me what happened.
Me?
Yes.
I want to sing.
I'll show him who he thinks we are.
Something a little odd about this hotel, don't you think?
Roland Young,
Just nervous eccentricity, Your Honor.
Constance Bennett, and Cary Grant in Topper.
Bobby, I think you got something there. Hit it.
It was another quiet Saturday night for Mrs. Stevenson until she picked up the phone.
Oh, hello? Who is it?
I forgot to ask you. Still don't want to use the gun? But make it quick. Our client says he doesn't wish to make a suffer.
And overheard some chilling plans.
Out of a clear sky, I was cut into this ghastly conversation between two killers.
Look, lady, a lot of murders are committed in this town every day. If we could stop them, we would.
All right, don't listen. Who cares?
Then I wait till the train goes over the bridge. In case her window is open and she should scream.
She realized her husband had a few plans for her.
There's someone in this house. There's someone in the kitchen downstairs. They're listening to me now. Who is it? Who's there?
Barbara Stanwyck, Burt Lancaster dial up murder in
Sorry, wrong number.
on Cinemax.
And now beyond the screen with one of this year's Oscar-nominated films.
The Last Emperor is a film of rare scope and grandeur, which covers the turbulent events of more than half a century. To tell the extraordinary true story of Puyi, the last emperor of China, the cast and crew found themselves where no Western filmmakers had been before, and no one remained untouched by the experience.
To have 1,000 million people fed and clothed is not a bad achievement.
Peter O'Toole arrived in China with all Confucius work with him, and the moment he showed up in front of the camera, he was, for real, completely Confucian.
Knowing that I'm a long-nosed barbarian is amusing. It can be often humiliating, doing me no harm.
Playing the roles of the last emperor and his empress are the Chinese actors John Lone and Joan Chen.
Well, for John Lone, the impact, I think, was great because he had never been to the People's Republic before, and although his family came from China, he had never been there himself. Joan Chen virtually commutes between the two countries, so for her, it wasn't, but other people, and including Peter O'Toole, became absolutely fascinated by China and Chinese culture.
John Lone is born in Hong Kong. He was studying at the Peking Opera School from the age of 7 till the age of 15, 16. Going to the States at the age of 20 or 21, I think. John is a very rare case of somebody able to put together the lesson of the Peking Opera with the actor studio.
I'm the byproduct of the East and the West, and the future is ours. There's no question. You cannot exist in your own little empire anymore. The world has to come together. And I have the best of the both worlds, and I will become a bridge, regardless I like it or not, between America and China.
The filmmaker's biggest achievement was being allowed to film inside the Forbidden City, the former emperor's palace in the heart of Peking, where no Western cameras had ever before been permitted.
There had been a number of films made over the last 40, 50 years about China, which had been made entirely in studios or on backlots. And this was a unique opportunity. The Chinese were prepared and happy for us to film in China. And it's really the first time they've given such a wide approval to a foreign film to be made, especially about modern China.
We were allowed to shoot, first of all, in the Forbidden City, which is this incredible set, maybe built up 600 or 700 years ago, thinking of a great movie. It's incredibly cinematographic.
The light in the Peking is really in the desert, on the edge of the Gobi Desert. The light is very special.
Everything has been done, has been built, has been painted, has been sculpted, thinking of the emperor. So everything sends you back to the figure of the emperor.
I mean, we had the 3-year-old emperor on his throne, and nobody's ever been allowed to put, you know, the boy emperor back on the throne. So it was a remarkable challenge and a remarkable opportunity.
The logistics of taking a film crew halfway across the world are formidable, but producer Jeremy Thomas believes the decision has been justified.
The Last Emperor needed China as part of its cast. It was very important for us to have the real locations and the numbers of people, the immense crowds, to make the film unique and original.
Danger, intrigue, thrillers. The suspense could be deadly this month on Cinemax.
Dr. Hill, there's a plot.
Mia Farrow is the innocent mother of an unborn evil in Rosemary's Baby.
There are no witches, not really.
Then Deborah Winger's on the case.
She's obsessed with killing, and you're obsessed with her.
When Teresa Russell weaves the web of a black widow.
She mates and she kills.
Barbara Stanwyck's wired for death.
Unless we do something drastic, it may be too late.
In Sorry, Wrong Number.
Hello.
And Rock Hudson finds there's no turning back.
Start again, all over.
From a chance at new life in seconds. Finally, it's mind versus murderer.
Act natural, like nothing's happened.
As Lee J. Cobb and William Holden confront the dark past.
Somebody's liable to get hurt.
Cinemax thrillers. They'll keep you on the edge of your seat. This month.
I think every adult has a fantasy of wanting to be a child again, and every child wants to see what it's like to be in an adult world.
Actor Judge Reinhold and his young co-star Fred Savage get the opportunity to live out this fantasy in their new film, Vice Versa.
It's basically concerns a 32-year-old father and his 11-year-old son who switch consciousness.
I told you to leave that alone.
You don't have to take tests at work. I bet people don't push you around calling you shrimp and microbe. You know, I wish I could change places with you.
Yeah? Well, I wish I could, too.
Kind of an irresistible comic premise for me.
It's a dream. We're having a dream.
It's the same dream? We woke up a half an hour ago. If we're dreaming, you won't feel this.
Ow! There must be a perfectly logical explanation for this.
Maybe this happened all over America.
Invasion of the Body Switchers.
Fred was my 11-year-old technical advisor. He helped me out defining the sensibilities of a present-day 11-year-old.
This is neat.
I realized one very significant difference between children and adults is that adults always seem to be preoccupied with something else, whether it's their marriage or their career or where they're going to have lunch. Children are very much in the present tense. So one way I was able to go from one to the other is just to put on that mindset to be, you know, presently there 100%.
Yo!
Yo, Marshall.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Marshall. The Jingle Bell Moose, Marshall. We've been getting complaints.
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
Wow! It said what I said!
Yeah, it's supposed to do that, remember? You squeeze the antler, some of them are talking gibberish. It's a woman in Kenilworth. Hers started swearing at her in Polish.
Can I keep this one?
The big distinction I found between 11-year-olds today and when I was 11 is that they just have so much more information. They're not necessarily smarter, but they are a lot more sophisticated because they have access to so much more information. Sexually, they know a lot more, but they're still, it's still just as scary to them. There's a meeting set up between the homeroom teacher and Charlie's father, which is me. So I get to tell the teacher what I really think of her.
Well, I've already graded yesterday's test papers.
Oh? How'd he do?
Exceptionally well. Which only confirms what I have suspected all along. He's working far below his potential. He's too easily distracted. He lacks focus. He lacks concentration.
Huh?
Charlie may be getting to that age. Frankly, I think he has a crush on me.
No way!
So anyway, my favorite scene is when Fred is the adult in the little boy's body, and he's reminiscing to me about what life was like before he got married. And I, in turn, am very intensely curious to find out whether my father really wanted me or not. There were a lot of levels to that scene, and I think it's very charming.
1964. I played second base in Little League. The Beatles were on the radio. I saw my first James Bond film.
James Bond was alive then?
I'm not all that old. I got married real young, that's all. Your mother and I were still in college. We were a crazy couple of kids.
Are you sorry?
Of course not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had you.
I conjured up my childhood, and what was interesting is I turned 30 years old as I was making the film. And through the experience of being a child and adapting that kind of mindset again, I realized how many unnecessary anxieties I was saddling myself with at the age of 30. And I don't mean to get into this like therapy thing, but it was very therapeutic for me. As a result, I think turning 30 at the time of playing a child helped me cast off a lot of unnecessary concerns, and it stayed with me.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
To the Hoosiers, basketball is king.
A basketball hero around here is treated like a god.
Most people would kill to be treated like a god just for a few moments.
To the coach, basketball is his life.
It's got to work out this time. That's it for good.
First of all, let's be real friendly here. Secondly, your coaching days are over.
It's like we're in the Army.
You are in the Army. You're my Army.
Unless he makes more enemies than points.
What kind of quick stuff you trying to pull out there?
Petition's been issued, requesting a referendum on your removal as basketball coach.
But if he can do it his way...
You kicking me out? Yes. Don't come back until you learn to keep your mouth shut and listen.
Remember what we worked on in practice, all right? I want to see it on the court.
This little Indiana town could grab a shot at winning big.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, and remember what got you here. In my book, we're going to be winners.
Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, Dennis Hopper, Hoosiers.
Already calling this the game of the century.
Tomorrow on Cinemax. Get ready for an April shower
of more surprises, more movies, more choice, all April long on Cinemax.
This time last year, I was in Paris.
You don't have to spend April in Paris to fall head over heels in love.
I love Frankie. She is a person, and you are an android.
Don't flatter yourself. I hate men.
A lady of the 80s and a love-starved robot are desperately seeking romance in Susan Seidelman's delightful fantasy, Making Mr. Right. Then Cinemax asks the question, what was Bobby Bittman really like?
Cocky.
A good boy.
He stepped on a lot of people.
The only thing that's certain is Eugene Levy gives a tour de farce in the Cinemax Comedy Experiment's historically hysterical autobiographies, The Enigma of Bobby Bittman.
I'm going home.
Whoever said you can't go home again?
And you were a guest.
Home is where the heart is.
Or is it? John Cryer stars in the Cinemax film Discovery. Morgan Stewart's Coming Home.
You tell me another film where you see a human head bouncing down the stairs.
Our next film Discovery will have you bouncing out of your seats.
He's a wonderful man, and he wants to care for us.
When it comes to murder,
Father knows best.
The Stepfather. His films capture the essence of the American spirit. Cinemax Director's Chair presents 5 films from the legendary John Ford, including The Grapes of Wrath.
It's been a long time since I heard Shakespeare.
Then you'll want to lend us your ear for our classic collections, Henry V. There's also A Place in the Sun, and this Academy Award winner.
Back to the ship.
And our Western Roundup's got the most talked-about movie of recent times.
I'm not responsible.
The uncut version, Heaven's Gate. And speaking of heavenly gates, she's making her move to Friday After Dark's House of a Thousand Pleasures. Then spring ahead with Vanguard Cinema, our Cinemax documentaries, The Times of Harvey Milk. The controversial Working Girls is our Cinemax New Wave film. And Hail Britannia for Defense of the Realm, our Cinemax import for April. Coming in May, Whoopi Goldberg in Burglar and Meryl Marco's Cinemax Comedy Experiment, while Steve Martin's busting out in June with Roxanne. But in the meantime, you can't go wrong with Making Mr. Right on April 10th. And there's no place like Cinemax on April 16th for Morgan Stewart's Coming Home, followed by autobiographies, The Enigma of Bobby Bittman. Cinemax, more movies, more choice, and an April shower of surprises.